guys, it's Destiny, and today I'll be giving my thoughts on Hysilens as I was able to extensively test her on the Creator Experience server. So today I'll be going over her kit, teams, endgame performance, build recommendations, and her overall value. For the question of the day, I would love to know one of your favorite shows. For me, it would be Sonic X. Lastly, if you enjoy videos like these, make sure to subscribe to see more content from me. Hit the like button to support the video, and now let's get straight into it. We're going to be starting off with Hysilens Kit. Hysilens is a physical nihility character centered around inflicting damage over time onto enemies. She is going to be able to detonate damage over time herself with her ultimate, increase her own damage as well as the team's damage through debuffs she can inflict onto enemies as well. Starting off with her basic attack, she will inflict damage onto a single enemy. Now for Hysilens' skill, she will have a 100% base chance to increase the damage taken by all enemies by 20%, lasting for 2 turns. She will also deal physical damage onto all enemies as well. Hysilens' skill will be able to inflict a vulnerability debuff onto enemies, which will be able to increase the entire team's damage output onto those enemies, in this case resulting in a 1.2 times damage increase for the team, as this is a 20% vulnerability debuff. As for Hysilens' ultimate, she will deploy a zone that will last for 3 turns and will reduce enemies' attack by 15% and defense by 25%, as well as deal damage onto all enemies. Additionally, for every 1 instance of damage or time taken by an enemy target within the zone, Hysilens deals physical damage over time equal to 80% of her attack to them. This damage triggers at the start of each turn or after 1 attack by an ally, up to 8 times as we can see here. Now this is actually per enemy as well. So let's say there was 5 enemies on the field, you can proc this 40 times, which you can see this in action here onto multiple enemies. Additionally, regarding one of Hysilens' traces, the Bubble of Banquets, it will allow Hysilens to detonate all damage over time currently applied onto enemies with her ultimate. This will result in nice considerable damage from Hysilens herself. I also like being able to break enemies with Hysilens because then we get to also take advantage of bleed as well, especially on a damage over time team, as shown here. As for Hysilens' talent, whenever an ally attacks, there is a 100% base chance for Hysilens to inflict wind shear, bleed, burn, or shock on that enemy, which she will also prioritize to inflict different states. So if you already had bleed, burn, and shock onto the enemy, she will prioritize to inflict wind shear. This is huge for being able to inflict numerous types of damage over time onto enemies. As for Hysilens' technique, she'll create a special dimension and enemies within this dimension will not attack allies. After entering combat, there is a 100% base chance to inflict each enemy with 2 forms of damage over time, being wind shear, bleed, burn, or shock. Additionally, when Hysilens enters battle, Hysilens' trace, the Gladius of Conquest, will allow Hysilens to create a zone with the same effect as her ultimate, lasting for 3 turns, which means you'll be able to immediately take advantage of the defense decrease onto enemies, which is very useful for those that are using a character with tutorial on the team. In this instance, Kafka holding tutorial can nicely take advantage of this. So for those that don't have Black Swan on their team, you'll still be able to get that additional energy through tutorial thanks to Hysilens' zone. Additionally, whenever Hysilens deploys a zone, she will recover 1 skill point, which assists with the skill point usage of the team. Lastly, Hysilens' trace, the Fiddle of Pearls, will increase her damage dealt based on the amount of effect hit rate she has, which the goal will be to go for 120% effect hit rate in order to get the maximum increase of 90%. Overall, Hysilens has a very powerful kit catered around damage over time and is a powerful asset for damage over time teams. She will be able to lower enemy defenses and inflict a vulnerability debuff onto enemies, which will nicely assist with the team's damage. She can inflict wind shear, bleed, burn, and shock onto enemies. She could detonate damage over time with her ultimate, which is useful in the case of front-loaded damage for the playstyle. She can assist with skill point generation a bit with one of her traces, and so on. Now that we've gone over her kit, let's go over teams. When it comes to teams, Hysilens will be primarily alongside damage over time characters, one of her strongest synergies being Kafka, as Kafka will be able to frequently detonate damage over time with her kit, which will increase the front-loaded damage of the team, and Hysilens will be able to assist with inflicting damage over time herself, detonating damage over time with her ultimate, and also increasing the damage allies deal onto enemies through her debuffs. Kafka also increases the attack of all allies by 100% who have 75% effect hit rate or higher. Now for the 3rd slot, you can go with either a 3rd damage over time character or a support. A strong damage over time slot for the 3rd slot can be Black Swan. She can reduce enemies' defenses alongside Hysilens, inflict Arcana onto enemies, and this team will be able to deal great front-loaded damage when it comes to Kafka's detonation and when Hysilens uses her ultimate, and then great back-loaded damage when it comes to enemies' turns due to the Arcana from Black Swan, as well as all the damage over time this team can inflict onto enemies. Additionally, it is far more feasible now to reach 50 stacks of Arcana with this team composition. For the budget-friendly damage over time options though, you could take a look at Luca, Sampo, or Guinaifen. For Jiaocho, his E2 being centered around damage over time can be a nice consideration for a third slot as well. You can try him at E0, but his E2 would definitely be preferable due to the fire damage over time of his Ashen Roast increasing. As for using Hysilens alongside Kafka and a support rather than a third damage over time user, you can go with Robin for the team-wide attack buffs, damage buffs, 100% advance for the team, and so on. Ruame can provide old-type res pen, damage boost, speed boost for the team, and much more. Chibi provides old-type res pen. She can nicely utilize Sans to advance for the team. Her zone will increase enemies' damage taken by 30%, which is considered a vulnerability debuff as well. You can use Pela for the defense reduction onto enemies with her ultimate, as well as assisting with generating skill points as she can nicely utilize her basic attack. Silverwolf can reduce all enemies' defenses, inflict physical or lightning weakness onto an enemy depending on if Hysilens or Kafka is in the first slot, and inflict more debuffs to further amplify the team's damage output. You can use Cypher for the vulnerability debuff she inflicts by being on the field, as well as taking advantage of her ultimate for the damage she records throughout the fight, and so on. For the sustain option, there's multiple options you can go for, as whenever an ally attacks an enemy with Hysilens talent, there will be that 100% base chance for Hysilens to inflict wind shear, bleed, burn, or shock. You can use Huahua for the attack and energy she provides with her ultimate, as well as the healing and cleansing. You can use Hyacinth for her high attacking frequency. You can use Gallagher for his attacking frequency as well. He's going to be able to advance himself forward by 100% after using his ultimate, so that does result in him attacking frequently. You can use Lingsha, Lawocha, and Aventurine. For a more free-to-play centric team, you can consider Hysilens, Kafka, Ruame, and Gallagher. Ruame is accessible for players to acquire for free, and Gallagher is also a 4-star option. I have also showcased Acheron alongside Kafka and Hysilens, which is the new version of Acheron alongside damage over time, Hysilens taking Black Swan's spot. Both Kafka and Hysilens will fit the 2 Nihility wants Acheron has for her Trace the Abyss, and Acheron can take advantage of Hysilens' debuffs. I did notice while testing this team that Acheron's numbers weren't very high. However, all 3 characters were able to deal sizable damage, which resulted in a good clear time. Speaking of clears, Hysilens, Kafka, Black Swan, and Huahua were able to get excellent clears even without their signature light cones. Starting off though with the premium tests that I've done, I was using Hysilens with her signature, Black Swan with Jiaocho's light cone, Kafka with tutorial, and Huahua with quid pro quo. For Kafka, if you want to go extra premium, then you can consider Cypher's light cone on her, but before the tutorial mission begins is an excellent option as a free-to-play option, so I use this throughout my tests. For this lineup, I was able to get a 0 cycle in Memory of Chaos, 40k in Pure Fiction, and a score over 3,800 in APOC. Additionally, it is worth noting that the Memory of Chaos Turbulence is the next Memory of Chaos, which the Turbulence states after an ally character uses a skill to attack or a Memo Sprite attacks, add 1 hit per action to Memory Turbulence up to 10 hits. At the start of every cycle, each hit from the Memory Turbulence deals true damage to a random enemy 1 time. I wanted to test this team out with this Turbulence rather than the current Memory of Chaos we have in game, as the current Memory of Chaos boosts skill damage and also inflicts a special burn effect onto an enemy. Now when it comes to free-to-play or 4-star light cones, I use Hysilens with Solitary Healing, Black Swan with Eyes of the Prey, Kafka with Tutorial, and Huahua with Quid Pro Quo. If you were to take off Black Swan for a support character, let's say Tribi, Robin, Ruame, whatever it may be, then you could also consider putting Eyes of the Prey on Hysilens instead of Solitary Healing. I was able to get a 1 cycle clear in Memory of Chaos with this team lineup, 40k in Pure Fiction, and I was able to get a good score in APOC as well, which was also above 3,800 with optimization. The results were very similar, with more premium light cones and the budget-friendly light cones, which is great for those who aren't able to acquire many signature light cones for these characters. I was also able to test Kafka without Hysilens and then Hysilens without Kafka. For Kafka without Hysilens, I used Kafka, Black Swan, Tribi, and Huahua, which Robin can be slotted here nicely in the slot of Tribi if you would like, and I was able to get a 2 cycle clear with the potential for a 1 cycle clear. Now for Hysilens, I used Hysilens with Black Swan, Tribi, and Huahua. We got a 3 cycle clear with that, There could have been potential for a 2-cycle clear, but it is worth noting in more unfavorable boss matchups, then the difference can definitely be wider in cycles. The Hysilens team without Kafka is lacking the frequent detonation that Kafka's kit enables for damage over time teams. So I noticed that as something that is very much lacking in a team without Kafka. I also tested Acheron with Hysilens, Kafka, and Gallagher. This got a 1-cycle clear with more premium light cones, and then a 2-cycle clear with Kafka holding tutorial. Overall, Hysilens' debuffing capabilities though are useful for increasing the damage the team deals, and while you can use her without Kafka, Kafka is easily one of her best partners and definitely one of the most important characters for the damage over time playstyle. To further expand upon this, in my latest videos, I mentioned if you do not have either character, I would recommend getting Kafka first and then Hysilens for the damage over time playstyle. Now that we've gone over team recommendations as well as endgame performance, let's go over how to build Hysilens. For her relic set, you'll want to use the prisoner set, and for her planars, you'll be looking at the C damage over time set, Pan Cosmic, Glamoth, or Space Sealing Station. For her main stats, I would recommend effect hit rate body unless you are able to reach 120% effect hit rate without it, then you can go for attack body instead. You would go for speed or attack boots, physical damage or attack orb, and attack or energy regen rope. For substats, you'll want to prioritize effect hit rate, attack, and speed. For stat goals, I would recommend 120% effect hit rate to maximize her chase, 134 speed or above with 160 plus being higher end, and for the C damage over time set to ensure that you have 3600 attack or higher within battle to maximize the set. For her light cone options, I would recommend her signature, Reformed Remembrance, Those Many Springs, Eyes of the Prey, Patience is All You Need, Good Night and Sleep Well, Solitary Healing, and so on. Light cones with effect hit rate can be seen as preferable though, as they will assist with getting closer to the 120% effect hit rate goal. Now for Hysilens value, I would say if you are a fan of damage over time, then Hysilens will be a very nice option for you. I would recommend picking up Kafka though before Hysilens as mentioned if you do not already have her and you are interested in damage over time playstyle. Now, if you aren't very much interested in damage over time at all, then in that scenario, I would more so recommend skipping Hysilens. I'd love to know all of your thoughts regarding Hysilens and if you'll be pulling for her or skipping her for someone else. Lastly, if you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing to see more content from me. Leave a like to support the video, and I hope to see you all next time. Peace.